Monsters do have their place. In the zoo, in your nightmares, in the deep, in your favorite horror movies. But not in your living room, on your TV. Don't let pay TV be the monster in your living room. Pay TV and cable TV companies are seeking the right to charge you for the very programs you now get free. If you want to stop pay TV and save free television, sign the petition in the lobby of this theater. Let your lawmakers know how you feel in the fight against pay TV and cable TV. My colleague, the Mad Reaper. We have a great show for you today, so we're going to get into it. Another week, another tragedy. We just want to say our thoughts and prayers go out to the people in California with the wildfires that are out of control there. I hope soon that they can get that under control because it's a very serious situation, very scary, and a lot of people have died, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry I didn't have my mic in front of me here. I'm always unprepared, so we got a really exciting guest today. We've been waiting for a long time.
Yeah. Also, Bruce, really quickly, I want to jump into Showstopper Customs. Hit me up with your address. You get an honorary Reaper Cup with celebrity judge on it. And Nick Manawa, please hit me up. You get a producer.
Yeah.
Reaper Cup too. So I just wanted to get that out there before I forgot it. And for those watching.
Which hopefully those two are watching. Those two are. That's very important that they're watching.
We are now available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube.
Yes.
Thank you to Nick Manawa, at Nick Manawa, and at Nick Manawa Figures on Instagram.
Very special night. Yeah.
We're very appreciative.
Yeah. So we got the Hand Man. I mean, Will is much more creative than just the hands, but this is something that I think is really demonstrative of his out-of-the-box thinking as far as customizing goes. And he's very experienced in other fields, right? He's the G.I. Joe customizer for those
G.I. Joe guy, but the wrestling's new to him. So for him to be coming on so quickly and being able to innovate, that's really impressive. And I can't wait to get him on, talk to him. So with that, let's get to it.
Let's do it.
Let me call him up on my...
Nice.
Reaper Chosen One phone.
I actually love that shirt. I love that image.
And also, don't forget our Custom Underground shirts.
Custom Underground.
The Custom Underground. All right, here we are. We're going to call Will.
All right.
Hello, and welcome back to the Custom Underground. We are here with Will Jonas, a.k.a. the Handman.
That was a nickname we just gave you.
That's all right. Now, the tricky part, last name, Joins.
Joins. Ooh, the E is silent. Okay.
Yes, the E tricks everybody. I get Jones and everything else.
Joinies, yeah.
Yeah, everything.
Jones.
Simplest last name on paper, but it makes everything so hard.
Okay, we got that now. We will have to add pronunciation after it, because we've been butchering that from day one.
I have a little thing down here that, a little pronunciation thing right down there, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone overlooks the I most of the time.
Yeah, I guess the I, huh?
Show off what you have sitting next to you, if you would, please.
You mean him? If you can see it. Yeah, with his fancy little hand. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see it.
That's crazy.
He's showing off a Cody Rhodes with the hands that can move, and the fingers are individually cut, as I believe he told me, and he put in wire from twisty ties.
Yeah, this one had the twist tie wire. This is what I've used on some of the other ones.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, 24 gauge fluoro wire.
24 gauge is strong enough to spread open the rubber?
Yeah, it's
That's crazy.
what I've got in this one right here.
That's awesome.
That one right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
The older hands are garbage for it, though. Like, this hand right here.
Are they
just... His hand. Ooh.
What's the problem with them? Are they, like, too stiff, or what's the...
Yeah, the older ones, it's like the rubber is so stiff. Like that Miz hand from like the 2010, like one of those from way back then.
Okay.
And it's so firm. Like it'll work, but it slowly spreads back out. But anything a little more recent works just fine.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I was wondering that. I was gonna actually pull one of your tricks on a Jeff Jarrett figure I'm working on, because I was like, he needs to have a PISA, and I was like, man, I wonder how thick of a wire I need to get the fingers to hold open, because I was just gonna like use a heat gun and then try to freeze it and keep it that way, but I don't think they would hold. So
I think that's the way a lot of people I've seen do it. They just kind of heat and then shock it back into place with either ice water or like something like that.
Yeah.
So boil and dip and boil and dip and boil and dip until it holds in place.
Yeah. But I suppose it's not...
Say what? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I bet you that's probably just too permanent, though, too. Like, I'm like, there's no coming back from that.
Yeah. I know. This is how I make all the holes.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I was like, he's got to drill this. Like, how hard would it be to drill that?
I don't know. I've got a wide variety of little itty bitty drill bits for the Dremel too. Man. But I've drilled into my finger a couple times working on like G.I. Joe customs.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I can
it's G.I. Joe customs. Oh yeah, because they're really small.
More.
Have you stabbed your finger with a pin doing this?
Couple times.
So
what's funny is the Cody one, the first one I did, not once, but that Cena hand that I did for to show somebody.
Yeah.
So many times.
Yeah, I guess.
The worst of it. I'm gonna run down a list of questions here real quick. What's your process with customs? I mean, like, what do you look for? What do you go for first? Is there a special feature that you look for in customs, and et cetera, et cetera?
I don't know. Usually it's just like if I get an idea, I'll run with it until, I either finish it or it pisses me off and I take a break from it for some odd amount of time. And then usually I only have a chance to like work on the weekends because I teach school. So.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
I'm a high school art teacher.
Oh, man. No way. That's awesome.
Yeah. Got my lovely little master's degree in that, so it does what I do. I learned a few tricks over the years.
That is crazy. So, like, were you sculpting before this, or did you, like, go ahead and, like, what's your preferred medium then? Like, I'm assuming you have, like, you've always kind of had an art background then, right? Or would that be an assumption?
Yeah, that's true. I usually just work in graphite, just me and a pencil.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's what I prefer. Painting, I always hated painting in school.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to do. I mean, I can do it, but I've never enjoyed it. Unless I'm painting like figures or something, then it's a little more fun. But when it comes to like pictures and stuff, so much.
That's fascinating. That's crazy. So like, when did you start, like, were you ever like in the clay, or did you just like jump into like, hey, I want this cooler action figure, and then boom, and it's like,
I dabbled a little bit, long time ago. Mostly I like, high school, I'd carve like foam sculptures and things. And then I did a little bit of stone carving in college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I would have never guessed, man. That's crazy news. That's awesome.
So did you start customizing with G.I. Joes?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How long have you been customizing G.I. Joes?
Like, it's about 7 years now, give or take.
Wow.
Yeah. I think 8 years this coming summer. Yeah.
What was your first custom?
Well, give me a sec. and I can actually get him off the table over here.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So wait one. I'll go grab him. Here's the bright light you can look at for a minute.
Man, we need to cover lighting in a different episode sometime, because that is like the biggest pain in the ass there is to making customs and painting.
It is by far the worst thing in the world.
Like, I used to have 2 separate light setups for sculpting. I used to, like, I do sculpting too with, like, you know, wax clay and stuff, Chavant. And, like, that's good for getting the forms down and everything. So then when I go to, like, paint this thing, I'm, like, thinking I'm painting a skin tone and thinking it looks pretty good under these warm lights. Get it underneath sunlight, and this thing looks like Donald Trump. And I'm like, man, what the hell? Gotta go back from scratch.
I know. I always mix my stuff extra pale because
that's
like what looks pale under the lights, and then when I move it away, it looks okay. Like that's why I've got, you know, this big swivel light here, and these 2 little dudes right here, and then my ghetto rig light box under there that I pull out from time to time.
Oh, nice! Like underneath it, or would you set it behind the figure, or what?
Yeah, I'll pull that out and sit it on the tabletop right there where the helicopters and the plane are.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, and then I've got tissue paper on the side of it, on top and the like 2 sides. So yeah.
Sweet. Yeah.
I looked up some cheapo photograph tricks online, and I built one out of an old shipping box I had.
That's a good idea. We need to cover that one episode. Let's remember that.
Well, it
is very
show
tough.
You. There's the moldy oldie. That was the very first one I ever did.
Oh man,
he's so old.
And this is like 7 years old.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
He's dusty. He's been through the ringer, so to speak. He just hangs out all the time now. And I painted him with spray paint and like artist acrylics, not even like model acrylics. I had like Liquitex, like professional artist acrylics that I'd mix and
hey, those
everything.
Are still good though. Those are still good for
I know. They're just so thick.
Yeah.
So
yeah. They're very heavy bodies. Like it's like almost you have to thin down so much to.
Here's the toughest question we're gonna ask you. What's your favorite custom that you did?
Favorite one? Man, that's probably, I don't have it anymore, or either one of them. I'd say it's a tie. I did a Gambit in G.I. Joe size using nothing but G.I. Joe parts and a head cast from a Marvel Universe Gambit figure. Wow. And then I did my own version of a Croc Master that I built from a whole bunch of different things. You may remember both of those from Keep It 100, Patrick.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good group. So, what would you do with a Ringside collectible gift card should you win now that you've been granted the gift of the god?
I don't know. I know. Let's see. I'd probably be after, if it's still in stock, that like Wolfpack Kevin Nash.
That's a good choice.
I don't have a Kevin Nash or a Diesel, so maybe 2 of them, and then turn one into Diesel.
Yeah. That's actually what I'm doing with the Razor.
Yeah, because I've got like the Defining Moments Razor, and then I've got the what was it?
52?
51.
Oh, 51.
Or 51 or 52. Yeah, the Scott Hall. I found a few of him at TJ Maxx as well.
Yeah, after you posted that, I went and followed up and checked too, and that's where I actually found mine, because like it seems like everything comes out like I'm in the Midwest, and it seems like we get everything later. So I was like, what the hell, man? Like they got to be out finally, and they were. So
it's bad on the East Coast. Unless you're West Coast, you don't get anything early.
Right? Yeah, I suppose it probably makes its way east.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I remember how hard it was to find G.I. Joe stuff whenever it'd pop into like Ross and TJ Maxx and things like that. I never see anything, and then people all up and down the East Coast are like, I bought all of them in the store in 3 different counties. And I'm like, oh, that's why. I mean, I've bought almost every wrestling figure I've seen at the 3 Targets near me, but at the same time, I've traded half of them away, or I gave it to my brother, who also collects a little bit.
So, how long have you gotten into wrestling then, or wrestling figures?
I've wrestling figures. August.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
So what
like
made you want to
actually
dabble
making
in
my own.
customizing them?
That's customizing them.
Yeah.
Collecting them probably a couple years.
Uh,
Just
Is
it's like they finally put out. Sorry, what?
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say, is Pat frozen? He keeps like freezing up on my side. There we go.
I hear some of that too. I blame Skype. Last time I used Skype, I had my job interview for my current job. That was like 3 years ago.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, no one uses
Yeah.
no one uses Skype regularly, like unless we're doing something like this, which now we have like every week. So.
Yeah, I know. I found like the Facebook phone call thing through the Messenger works okay sometimes too, just for like basic audio.
Oh yeah.
It's not bad. Yeah, because dude used to call me on that all the time about custom things
That's cool.
all the time.
So what would you
Yeah.
say is the biggest difficulty then between the what is it 3 and 3/4 inch?
3 3/4.
Yeah.
Yeah, 118 and what is it? 1/16, I think. Yeah,
1/12. I think supposed
112.
to be
Yeah,
wrestlers, but they're
118.
very rarely 1/12. They're always a little bigger, but
they're really close.
Yeah. they're close. Close enough.
Probably. Yeah, probably it's just the construction. Like I've torn apart like some Marvel Legends stuff and used some of those ideas on this, and most of the stuff like I did with the little guys translates to the big ones. They're easier to paint.
Really? The big ones?
Oh yeah.
I suppose, yeah.
When you work on the little dudes and then you move to something big, you're like, man, I have all the space in the world.
Yeah.
Eyes are itch, but they're nowhere near as bad as the little eyes.
Yeah, it's like the opposite for me because I'm like, well, it's the same concept, but like I started in like 6 scale figure, not started, but like from a hiatus, started work on 6 scale figures. Now I'm back to like these 6 inch figures, and I'm like, man, this is way harder. But now when I'll go back to those, I'll be like, this is huge. I can't even imagine how small a GI Joe, painting one of those guys. That would be crazy.
It's a bear, man. I usually try to like, hold my breath whenever I go near the eyes, so that way, if the eyes look good on the stock figure, just delicately go around them, so I don't even have to mess with painting the eyes. I can't stand painting eyes.
Well,
and even then, like,
no, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, it's okay. I was like, even then, like, on the big ones, I still don't like it because I don't know what it is. I can thin the paint to a nice consistency and it still doesn't want to go on. Next thing you know, when I finally get it to go on, it's just a blob. And I'm like, come on, really?
Well, what do you find is your, this is perfect since you are an art teacher. I think if there's someone watching this show, they're just getting into customs, let's do, top 3. What are your top 3 brushes you would say, these are must-haves? If someone was just getting out to it, don't even, know if they like it yet, but, they have to start somewhere.
Yeah. Let's see. The 20-0.
20-0.
Yeah, that's itty-bitty and good for most everything. And if you can't get one of those, you can shave down the end of a toothpick.
Is that, your, eye brush, or is that, your main base brush?
That's my eye brush.
Okay. So people, if you guys really don't know anything about customs or brushes, you're in a good episode here, but, brushes have numbers on the sides, like pencils, and I don't even know if people know that, but, pencils and brushes have these numbers on the side that indicate their sizes, so this is what we refer to when we're talking about 20-0.
Yeah, exactly. Where's my good one? It's hiding from me. Or my oldest, rickety old brush. I wouldn't even call it a good brush anymore. It's just, I've been using it for so long.
It's the workhorse.
That, yeah, it's so bad, but I keep using it because it and then
I think we all have one of those, though.
Yeah, when it starts to get rough, it turns into the best dry brushing brush.
I mean, yeah, I think all of us are kind of hoarders at heart because when you get a bad brush, then you find a new use for a bad brush, and you're like, hey, this is a dry brush because it's just awful, and it turns into a good dry brush.
Exactly. I can't find that one. Also, I'm insanely cluttered, so it takes me forever to find stuff. The ones I don't use are very, very neatly put away. All the stuff I do use is just slid to the side, so I had room.
So like, but I mean, it's like it's got to be a medium-sized brush, right? Like nothing too big. But...
it's pretty close to this one. See how old that one is?
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it still comes to a point. It's not like a flat hit, like a flat one or.
Yeah, I don't use any flats. I always use the pointed rounds.
Well, I suppose
or the
painting G.I. Joes, yeah.
Liners or daughters. Yeah, liners and daughters are really good for stuff too. Like that 20-0 is a spotter for doing like dots and things like that.
Yeah.
And then right here's a 3-0 liner. I use this a lot on like smaller stuff.
See, now these are terms that I don't even know. So could you explain these? Because
well, you know the sizes,
right?
So this one's got a longer head on it. It's got a longer head. It's good for like pulling lines.
Okay, so it's got more material to be able to drag along.
And then I keep this one put up so I don't wreck the tip more than I already have.
I see what you're saying.
But
so
the little guys, see how little?
Yeah.
Little. There's like nothing there.
So you can't really make a line with that. It's more like just a dot. That makes sense.
Yeah. Quick hits. And then God, I wish I had one sitting here. I don't know where I put it. But I'll just bring out that rickety one again. This right here is just the regular pointed round, and it's just the general overall brush.
Okay, I see what you're saying now, because I mean, I've never called them that, but I mean, they totally are, because I mean, I've used them just like that. I mean, I've never tried to use the other for the other purpose, but yeah, that's really interesting. So, like, what's your favorite brand of paint then? Like, did you switch paints coming from G.I. Joe's, or did you stay?
I use the same stuff. I've got a variety, like you can see, like right there. I've got a little Citadel, mostly Model Masters, and then some of the
model
like
colors. Yeah.
Vallejo. Yeah.
So what's
the Vallejo stuff? Pretty nice.
Is that your favorite one? Was that what you would say?
I'd say Model Masters. I haven't had anything bad with them at all. Like every once in a while, just because of the way the little pots work, like I'll have one that dries out if I don't use that color for a long time.
Yeah.
And that makes me angry. But they're good, solid paint.
It was weird that you say that, because I was actually reading an article about how like Citadel paint pots are actually some like the most poorly designed paint pots there are, despite everyone liking them. I mean,
I like them because that little spout in the back.
Yeah. Like
when you shake it, fills up, so you dip into that instead of down into the pot.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's one thing people say though, is like when they come out and like, you're supposed to like use like a palette or something to kind of wipe down the paint, versus, a lot of us just go alongside the lid. I don't, but a lot of people go down the side of the lid, and
that guy.
And it's
years
clean enough because you can still put paint on there. It is crazy. I mean, who knows about paint pots, man? I've switched to dropper bottles. I like those the most because they're all thin.
I would
boom.
I would love to get some little pipettes so that way I could mix like bulk skin tones and stuff and like little extra ones.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of buying it and doing it.
That's what's actually cool about like the dripper bottles too, is because I can be like, hey, if I need like 2 to 1, like it's easy. Like, okay, really? I talk about Ricochet, right? Like I'm like, Ricochet is a mixed dude. He's like half black, half white. It's pretty easy to make that skin tone because you just do a white skin tone and a black skin tone.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to like oversimplify it, but I mean it kind of is. Mm-hmm. And with the dropper bottle, I'm not like eyeballing it. I'm like, boom, boom, mix it perfect.
Yeah. I eyeball it. Next thing you know, my thumb's covered in paint swatches, so I can get the like a good true color, true read on the skin tone and everything. Because that Cody skin tone, that's like 5 different paints.
Whose skin
in
tone?
One.
Cody.
Oh wow.
On the
Cody one.
Nightmare.
Yeah, that's
on
like 5 different ones. I think I've got the Model Masters skin tone base. I've got the Tamiya base skin tone. I've got the Model Masters warm skin tone, shadow skin tone, and then Citadel Baylor brown, the leather.
Yeah.
All sent that together.
Yeah, my wife was watching me paint once, and she's like, "Oh, Brown." I was like, "It's no relation to Finn, like none whatsoever." But I mean, so like, do you mix all of your skin tones into one color as like one layer, or are you a layer guy? Like, do you do the base and then another base and then like the shading or?
I I'll mix like the main body skin tone as one thing, and then if I'm going to like warm it up or put shadow tints on it, then I'll put layers on.
Okay,
and
that's cool.
later on I'll like dry brush something over it if I need it a little paler.
Yeah, a little more depth or something.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so I like the solid base, and then I layer it up from there. I've
That's
never been good at layering from the beginning. I've tried it, not my bag.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm the same way.
What advice would you give young customizers starting out who want to, whether it's paint related or just customizing in general, whether it's G.I. Joe, WWE?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Lots of X-Acto knife blades. Lots of them. I go through them regularly, but a buddy of mine gave me a giant pouch of them. Let's see if I've got it nearby. No, I've moved it around too.
You'd like to add the disclaimer, like if you're, you can use a blade by yourself, because if you're like 14 years old, do not buy a bunch of X-Acto blades, because you'll do what I did at that age and stab yourself in the foot, and it doesn't feel good. Just listen to me.
Yeah, I've got scars from working construction with my dad as a kid, with me in the box there. So, yeah, I've still got like a horseshoe shaped scar on the side of my thumb where it got me really good one day.
And cut away from yourself, if you're listening to this, people.
Oh yeah,
don't cut towards
always
yourself.
Cut. I even have a chainmail glove just in case too.
Oh, that's smart. I should do that.
That is smart.
Where I got that.
So do you use an X-Acto knife, or do you use like a box cutter that has the blades in them?
I got it right there.
X-Acto.
Mm-hmm. And then if I need a little more leverage, got the old Stanley. And I've used my pocket knife a few times as well when I just couldn't find the others.
I've never even thought of that until Biondo said that, and I was like, I suppose a pocket knife would work pretty easy and not stab yourself with it.
I've got a nice, insanely sharp Kershaw that it does work.
Nice.
And then I've also let's see, with G.I. Joes, I don't even touch like the torsos when I crack those with an X-Acto knife. I just use their channel locks.
Oh, okay. That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
I've got them coated in duct tape and cardboard so that way it doesn't eat into the plastic.
And I was wondering, would something like that work on the hand if you're like going to put a pin in it? Like, Alberto's hands suck. Let's go Albert Rio. Like would it help if you could put those into pliers and then go along that way with them, or not?
I tried that. I did, because I've got here we go. Well, I'll just grab the other one. I've got one of the little bitty jeweler pliers.
Oh wow, yeah.
This is the one for bending wires, but I've got one of the like little needle nose ones too.
Yeah.
And I would try to like pinch it and then do that as well, but it just doesn't have the maneuverability. Hopefully you saw that. I don't know.
I seen that. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Do you leave the hand on, or do you take the hand off?
I've done it off and on. I prefer to leave it on, just so you have a little more like stability with it.
Yeah, arm to hang on to. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, so that way you can hold the arm with like your middle finger back, and then the index and thumb you can hold the finger up and straight, and then just work down.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have it. The one thing I need to do is start hitting it with the hairdryer first. I don't usually do that.
Well, I suppose
I just work it cold and then go through. Ooh. And I'm thinking if the hairdryer might be a little easier.
Yeah, I mean, even if you heated up the needle, but then you'd probably feel like you're getting into, dangerous territory there.
Uh-oh, we lost Pat. What happened with
the cameras? Pat. Here, I'll add him.
He might be back in a second.
This is a technical difficulty here.
I know. Should we wait a minute?
Yeah, here, I'm going to try calling him.
All right.
Patrick.
Good old internet.
Yeah. Hey, it's 2017 and we can't.
I know. I'm just super happy that when we moved up to the DC area from North Carolina, we moved up to where they have the fiber optic internet.
Oh man, way faster. Yeah.
Well, it's like lightning here. And then they gave me a free upgrade to the 100 meg connection recently.
Oh man. Yeah, you're lucky.
So I was like, sweet.
I got some slow ass internet over here in North Dakota.
Oh,
The fastest, you know, in the state, but that's not saying a whole lot.
North Carolina was bad. I grew up in the mountains of North Carolina. We didn't have high speed until I was out of high school.
Oh man, yeah, I was remembering back in the day, like I started doing customs first when I was like 12, like 15 years ago, longer than then, yeah. But like I remember people used to take pictures of their figures in scanners. Like I'm like, man, that's how old school
Oh yeah.
Like thinking about it now, it seems archaic.
I'm probably the oldest one here. I started with dial-up. You know, you have to kick everyone off the phone, and yeah.
Yeah, I started off on a 28.8 back in like 96, 95, 96. That was our first computer. with Netscape Navigator, you had to install off of like 4 floppy disks.
Oh yeah. AOL before AOL even. That's like.
Oh yeah, long time. Tripping the Wayback Machine.
Well, figures were simpler than, not G.I. Joes, but I mean, wrestling figures were shit.
The worst figures ever, the vibrating WCW figures.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, by far,
Easily.
not even close.
They're not even in scale with anything. Like
the market that they were aiming for on that, I don't know what it was. It was, old ladies that like that wrestler. I mean, that's just the only.
They were poorly designed. They vibrated, and they were out of scale. And yeah, there's nothing good about that at all. Just nothing.
Yeah. The coolest figures ever, though, weren't even figures, and those were the wrestling buddies. Those were the coolest
those
things.
wrestling buddies are sweet. I seen that they're making them again with Finn. Like.
Yeah, I saw that. We actually at my parents' house, maybe back in the wintertime, they went down in the the wooded area off the yard, and they found my brother's Crow Sting wrestling buddy from like way back then in the woods, like covered with stuff. He was still in one piece. He was just super faded and stained from being out there for 15 years or more.
In a different context, that would be terrifying. Like if you're walking in the woods and you find this little crow-faced midget buddy in the
exactly.
There's actually, and I don't mean to. No, go ahead.
The electronics still worked.
Really? No way.
Yeah, you could still grab his nose, and he hated it.
How?
I just got a wrestling buddy from my friend Peter. We're working on a project together with Ted DiBiase.
Oh, I seen that. That's awesome. I wanted to hear about that.
He actually sent me his wrestling buddy and also a $1 million suit.
No
jacket.
way.
Nice.
Yeah.
We need to talk about that.
The only cool wrestling story I've got is myself and my dad are friends with Braun Strowman's dad.
No way. That's great.
Nice.
Yeah. He went to high school about like 30, 40 minutes away from where I grew up. My cousin hung around with his circle of friends, and our dads all know each other.
That's crazy.
And so they hang out and make wine together all the time. So we've been trying to work an angle to where he'll sign some figures for me whenever he comes home.
That'd be cool.
So fingers crossed on that one.
So
I know.
Ever send your Braun figures to Will?
I hung out with him once, like years and years and years. I mean, Jesus, that was probably like middle school.
Was he
that one time we hung out?
Was he like a big kid for like forever? Like not that big, but I mean, was he bigger?
His dad's a giant.
Oh, wow.
So
that makes sense then.
He gets it honest. His dad's a big dude. Like his dad was super like hardcore into softball, and his nickname in softball was the Crusher. Because the original, the old Atlanta Braves stadium, the one before Turner Field and before this most recent one, he knocked one, they were doing a softball home run derby, and he cracked one out into the parking lot of that
Jeez,
place.
what a tank.
Yeah.
What the hell?
He's he's crazy. He's the nicest dude in the world, though.
Yeah, Braun seems like he'd be a nice dude. I just seen him live a while ago. He's like, seems pretty chill.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
And then
fighting Roman. Surprise, you know. He's always fighting Roman.
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping I get tired of seeing them push Roman, honestly.
Yes,
It's
we've
just-
talked about that on our show too.
It's just not working. But that's neither here nor there.
I mean, they should have made him champion though. When they should have had him beat Brock the last pay per view, but they didn't.
Brock's the worst choice for anything.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
It's not going to be on TV the rest of the year, so
yeah, let's put the belt on a part timer.
it's not going to be on the show for the rest of the year. I mean, that's
Yeah.
crazy in my opinion.
I'm
We talked about
I
that
will
last
say
episode.
I'm super stoked that I get to go to Starcade.
Oh man, yeah. What is that?
It's like
November,
an
right?
old, yeah, it's an old old promotion started by Dusty Rhodes back in the
No,
day,
yeah.
and then carried over from what was it, NWA into when they became WCW.
Yeah, it was
And
the
then-
Crockett one.
What was it, 18, 19 years ago? They did the last one, and now WWE decided to resurrect it.
That's gonna be, is that NXT or no? War Games is NXT, right? The War Games is coming back.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. Starcade's going to be a SmackDown event.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the
Is it-
card's pretty good. I know Jinder and Shinsuke and AJ are all on the card.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but it's going to be a network event only. It's not going to be like a regular pay-per-view or anything. It's
Pay-per-view.
kind of like house show, but not house show.
That's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, I go to TLC in like 2 weeks, I think. So I'm a little more of a Raw guy, but yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not a big WWE fan even like to this day.
I can only watch the really, really old stuff.
Yeah. Oh man, I was just
Eh.
telling. Yeah. I
And my
just started
brother, he
watching-
has the network account,
Oh really? Oh,
so I just use
the
his.
WWE network. Yeah, man, that thing is
Yeah.
a beast though. That's a steal. Like that's worth it.
That was a very good steal.
Yeah,
I started watching
I'm
all the old
hoping-
Nitros. No, go. Sorry.
it's all good. I'm hoping that NJPW will do an app for the PlayStation so I can justify buying that subscription.
Yeah. Well,
Because without the PlayStation, and streaming it so I can actually watch it on my TV, I probably won't get it.
someone said though actually that on the PlayStation and Xbox browsers you can access it from their browser, and I'm a big gamer too. Like I used to be before I got a job and
Yes,
had to get out of school. But like I forget that those systems have browsers. But I guess on the browsers, the New Japan works perfectly. So
oh,
I was gonna try it out.
might have to check that one out. I just
Yeah.
know on the old browser for the PlayStation 3,
Oh,
that
man.
browser wouldn't do anything.
So awful, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if the new one will run it, I definitely might have to check that out and then do it to it.
Yeah, that browser was so bad. I mean, I wonder. I mean, they probably didn't design the browser to be like, "Hey, kids, look at porn on this," but they were like, "Hey,
Yeah,
it's really it serves no purpose on PlayStation if you're gonna play games on it." It's like, well, why do you have a browser? I mean, chances are you have a computer first,
Exactly.
Or now, you have the phones that are
That's
easily
true.
accessible.
Everything.
Yeah.
And they really do need an app, like, cause I use a lot of Apple TV is like my favorite thing, and they don't have an app for Apple TV. Like, it's like, what the hell, man?
Hmm.
I mean, granted, they're Japan, but
Yeah. I mean, Japan's the hub of technology. I
That's
remember
true.
going to I remember going to what was it? Akihabara when I was there back in 2008. And it was ludicrous how much stuff
Really?
they had.
that's crazy.
It was ridiculous.
Did you get a
And
bunch
so
of?
much.
No, never mind. That was China would have had the cheap wrestling figures, not Japan.
I can't lie that I'll buy the bootleg elites from the Chinese guys on eBay.
Do they actually look good? Do they work? I mean, are they real?
They look the exact same, honestly.
Wow. Yeah,
I've got the elite Roddy Piper coming in the mail here pretty soon.
I was gonna
So-
try that just for even parts. I'm like, man, they're so cheap. Some of them, why wouldn't you just
Yeah,
get
I
the
mean-
parts?
you can buy that thing for like $10, and then shipping's usually free. I mean, you just got to wait the ass end of forever to get it. Because it's giant.
Well, that's very cool.
Yeah. Now, before I forget, I did remember one tip. If you ever mess up your paintbrushes, Murphy oil.
Murphy oil, like gun oil, huh?
Yeah, the wood polish stuff for like, hardwoods and things in like bars and everything.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
wow. Okay.
If you got acrylic paint dried in there, just put them in there, let them sit for like a couple days, and it just washes right out, conditions the bristles and everything.
That's pretty smart. I've never heard about that. Yeah.
One of my old coworkers taught me that at the school I worked at before this one, and I swear by it now because every year at the end of the year I pick all the brushes up the kids ruin. Like they'll have like dried acrylic, and they'll be hard enough to where if you sharpened them, you could probably shiv somebody hard. You put them in the stuff, let them sit, they rinse right out. No
really?
Mm-hmm.
So this is Murphy's gun oil, or not gun oil? I keep thinking of gun oil because there's a gun oil that I use for my airbrush that I was recommended to use for my airbrush. I never used it, but
yeah.
What's the oil?
Murphy oil.
Murphy oil. So Murphy oil.
Yep, it's on like the cleaning aisle, near like Lysol and everything else.
Oh, okay.
Walmart or something. It's just like at mine, you got Lysol and stuff on your right. On your left, you have everything else, and then there's Murphy oil. It's like $3 for like maybe a 20-ounce bottle.
Wow.
$3-4.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah,
it lasts a long time. Let's see. Yep, that's probably my best trick. Other than, if you like metallics, I swear by that Molotov liquid chrome pen.
Really? Does it
Yes.
Does it get sticky at all, or?
No, it dries like solid hard.
Wow.
Like that's what I use to do that metallic work on that Kenny Omega's kick pads back in like August. Yeah.
I wanted to check that out because I thought I seen it. It was Anthony's Customs. I don't know if you guys know of him. He's another customizer on YouTube that does like Marvel Legends, and he's a Marvel Legends customizer.
Yep.
And he does like a bunch of figure reviews and stuff. But he's a talented dude. And I followed him, and he had a video where he was trying that chrome on a helmet, and like he was like it was sticky or something. And I mean, it must be the base plastic that you use it on. I mean, every paint is dependent on what you're painting on. Yeah. But that's crazy. I want to try that because that looked really good. Like,
yeah, this stuff's it's like an alcohol ink, so it dries really fast too.
Okay.
And the one thing that I have seen with it is because I made a dude a set of raw tag belts. He sent me like the cheapo basic ones, the black and like weird bronze. And so I painted the belts red, and then hit all the other parts with this. And the only downside with it is when you handle it a lot, like when you're trying to put it back together, it gets really, really dull. But you can just go back over it and
get it shiny again.
Yeah.
So you don't even like clear it with Mod Podge or anything? It's just
like I have never been someone that likes to clear coat stuff because it's never worked for me, no matter what. Like anytime I do it, it just peels right back off.
It's true. I mean, this is true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just let everything sit and dry for a really, really long time before I mess around with it, unless I'm super impatient and excited and want to touch it like as soon as I'm done painting.
Do you do layers or do you just do?
Like,
I mean, multiple coats. I mean, do you like put on multiple coats or?
Yeah. One thing that I found that works really well for making paint very durable, automotive self-etching primer.
Wow.
In the spray can. Yeah.
You're not the first person that said automotive. I'm yet to try that again. I need to try it.
That self-etching primer, I used to use it on the G.I. Joes, and I got to a point, like, with some of them, you didn't even have to sand the joints anymore. It would create that good a bond with the paint. You could just work the joints and nothing would happen.
Wow.
But then, some of them fit so tight it still would.
Right.
So it's kind of a figure-by-figure basis.
That's very cool. Wow, we learned a lot. Class in session.
Episode since crotch cracking.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I haven't broken apart one of the crotches on one of these wrestlers yet.
I haven't successfully done it either, so I'm.
Yeah. I can't. I hate the fact that there's two different types of like ball joints.
Yeah.
It makes me angry.
Oh man, me too. I feel your
So
pain.
because I've got a Chris Benoit that I want to do, and it'd be so easy because the Sheamus base that I'm using, I could just pop the legs off of it because it's got the new ball joints. But then the legs from the Edge figure that I found at the thrift store that I want to use for the pants and tights, they're the old ball joints.
Oh man.
Oh.
So I'm gonna have to split both torsos just to get the lower body.
And Sheamus is a hard torso to split unless it's a newer figure, but the older ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's newer-ish because I'm gonna say fairly new since it's got the new the new ball joint. Probably last year and a half, 2 years tops.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And even then, random which ones it is from what I've heard. And
I know,
at
yeah, because it's like they'll still use old parts, and you're like, what the hell, like.
Well, that's everyone's favorite cost-cutting measure. I mean, if you look at 90% of the figures, you can look, okay, they all have pretty much the same arms unless they have the extra buff ones because you can look at how they're sculpted. And then the torso, you've got maybe 4 different torsos outside of like the rotund fellows.
Yeah,
Okay. You've got the same torso. You've got the same torso. You've got the jacked torso that has the striation across the pecs. You've got the jacked torso. Doesn't.
Yeah, it's like the smaller guy jacked torso, then it's like the bigger guy jacked torso. And like the smaller one is the hardest one to find, like the one for Finn Balor. It's the Dolph Ziggler one, but Dolph is so tan that he's worthless for anyone.
I know. I'm hoping that's like I've got a trade that's coming through with one of those AJs that I got through a dude in Canada. He's sending me one of the network spotlight Baylors so I can paint him up like a Prince Devitt.
He's a cool one, yeah.
Yeah, because honestly, like I haven't watched Baylor wrestle, and I've barely watched any of the other one, but I'd prefer just to make a Bullet Club version of him.
Yeah.
So that way he can rest.
Exactly.
And I mean, I like seeing them all, but there's been such a glut of Baylor customs. It almost hurts me to see them all the time. I'm just like, okay, that one's cool. That one's cool. All right, I've seen a lot. Stick both.
I know I've been wanting to make mine for a while, and I'm like, I think I'll probably finally make them this weekend. But it's like, it's one of those like figures, and I think that, there's a lot of them that you make and that you feel very unoriginal in making. So you're like, oh.
It's like that Cody. It's like as soon as I started on him, like I saw that one put up by wasn't it Curb Stomp that did it?
I think
like recently.
Yeah, he did one. No, yeah, the NWF did a cool one. He did one recently too.
Yeah, I saw two of them. I was like, well, and one actually used the same head that I'm using, the Stardust head with the creepy grin.
Yeah, that actually.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a good head too for Cody.
I know it just looks just menacing enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like,
I mean, because the other one doesn't really look like Cody.
He doesn't have a lot of expression either. This one has more personality.
Yeah, and I feel like Cody now does, like as a figure. Exactly. But
yeah,
cool.
I know some other things I've been trying to do just because it's what slowed me down and why I haven't really made much of anything recently is I'm trying to get back into making my own decals again. It's been so long, so I had to get a decent like photo manipulation software again, and then I'm also brushing up on tailoring stuff because it's been a long time since I've made clothes. So I'm going to try and relearn everything that I've done in the past and only scale it down to these.
This is a good point where we need to insert a Ring Bling shout out, but we need to get a coupon code like for our people from Ring Bling. That'd be cool. We should approach him about that.
He's an awesome dude.
Yeah, he's Pat's buddy, so we should have him.
I hear he's been absolutely swamped lately too.
He makes great work too.
Really,
I mean, I got a hoodie for a figure that I'm working on here that he made, helped me out with it because I can. If it's not me, my wife will sew stuff for me. But this hoodie was something I didn't want to tackle, and he nailed it. He killed it. So
I know. I took clothing design instead of advanced math in high school, so I learned a little bit.
I think you got a better deal on that. I wish I got a deal like that.
I've learned a few tricks just taking random things. That and like one of my college classes was fibers, so I worked with a lot of like soft sculpture and things like that.
Oh,
so
that's
it's
cool. That's crazy.
It's tricky stuff. So I mean I know how to screen print and all this other stuff. It's just like I've got to make a mini screen print, or like a mini print screen. I've got a full size one, but that's overkill.
And that would be like some next level stuff, because no one screen prints on actual shirts like that small, which would be sweet. Like if that was something that was done, that'd be sweet.
The one trick I've seen is you can get like those little cross stitch circles, and then you can get the screen that goes into like a regular screen, and you can put it inside one of those and just trim it and use that as like a miniature screen printing screen.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's probably the route I would take. It's just like, again, it's one of those things like this Cody one's kind of made me want to try all the other new stuff, because he's got to have his leather jacket, and then he's got to have his bum flap, the American flag butt towel. So he's got to have all the things. Otherwise, it's just not going to work.
Then you got to make a Vampiro. No.
I've got to make a lot of things. It's just like I'll get all the ideas, but then I'm still like fresh into it, so I don't have a ton of parts.
Oh yeah, that's a.
Yeah, these guys are so much more expensive to work with than G.I. Joes are. So I've got to work slow until I eventually put things up.
Amazon warehouse deals, I feel like, is like one of the best places if you find a figure that you need, that I like to use, because they're even cheaper than eBay sometimes. Like, I mean,
yeah, I know that like
they fluctuate, but
yeah, when I built that Kenny, the only two figures I had were a Bret Hart and a Daniel Bryan.
Oh man,
that was it.
Yeah,
that's why he's got a teeny torso. I haven't checked the skin tone, but one of those extra Scott Halls, I might just clean the body hair off and see if it comes close to matching. I think it's a little more red, so it might not work. But I've got to find a little more. Yeah, it's got a little more of that beefy build without being overly jacked, because he's not super jacked. He's just really he's got a big upper body.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of people using like the absolutely just shredded upper bodies. I'm like, no, that's wrong.
No, I'm using like the Triple H one, the young Triple H, the Hunter Helmsley one. That's like this Alberto one, except not Alberto's skin tone.
Yeah. I think I've got one of his I've got one of his basic figures, and I was like, that would be a good torso if it was not a basic torso.
Yeah, that's and the only reason I switched so much to those ones was because like the Four Horsemen 4-pack from Target that I got for like $15 on clearance, I grabbed five of them. Like, I'm not even kidding you.
They had the Heenan family box set like over the summer at the Target in my home, back in North Carolina where I'm originally from, for like $9.
Oh man!
And they had 5 or 6 of them on the shelf, and then I went back like 2 days later, and they were all gone.
Yeah, I didn't even see the Heenan one in person. But the Ric Flair one, they had a bunch of Ric Flairs in that set, and he has this torso. And so with him, and then the Toys R Us Triple H, the Hunter Helmsley, being like $13 now and everywhere, he's like the perfect torso.
Yeah, I could easily go pick one of those up. Part of me says I need to pick up 2 because I don't have a Triple H, but the other part of me says I don't like Triple H enough to even want one of his. So I'm just sort of like, I've never enjoyed him. I hated him when he was like Hunter Hearst Helmsley because he was a big douche, and then I didn't like him when he was in DX because it's like, oh, he's trying too hard.
Yeah, he was still a big douche. He was just trying not to be one, but he was still one.
Yeah, and then I didn't really dig him in his more recent ones because now he's like trying to be a hard ass, but he still just comes off as a douche.
Yeah,
just a hard ass.
Guess we're not getting that WWE sponsorship now. Thanks.
Steph's pretty
These
cool
opinions
though.
do not reflect the views of the Custom Underground and its
Oh.
affiliates.
We want the Lucha Underground license though if they come back.
I've not watched any of their stuff, but I hear good things.
It's the greatest ever.
It's amazing.
It always throws me off because every time I hear about it, it's like season such and such. It's like they do seasons.
It is like a reality show, pretty much. I mean, kind of.
Yeah,
Not
that's
really.
that's what I also heard, and I was just like,
But it makes it so much cooler, I feel like, because then there's story arcs and there's like closure. Like to an extent, like you want to wrap it up. They're not like, hey, we'll see if we can still do this 2 years from now. They're like, we know we got a finale. We're gonna build that and we're gonna close it. And it's cool to see the arc of that character in like little grindhouse vignettes. That's what I love most about Lucha.
It reminds me of the old days too, where you built up like you had Starcade or whatever, and you spent all the time building up to that big event. And yeah, it's a lot more like that, and I appreciate that and like that.
There's just too many pay-per-views now, honestly.
There is.
It cheapens everything when you have a pay-per-view every month. Like if they went back to like maybe quarterly pay-per-views at the most, it'd be so much better because you'd have
Every
all
month,
that
sometimes
time.
twice.
Yeah, it's
Ridiculous.
ridiculous. But something
I'm glad I
like
have
quarterly.
the network. I have to pay for each one.
Yeah, exactly. But the quarterly, like it almost seemed like it was quarterly long ago. You know, you had your main ones that you're looking forward to, and like a couple others here and there to whet the appetite throughout the year. But they all had nice build up to a real main event. Now it's just like, okay, let's shoehorn this feud together really quick, and it'll culminate in like a month, and then after that, it's like, oh, why'd we even do it?
Yeah, I mean, the problem was, and I don't want to get into a long tangent on it, but I think the problem is that pay-per-view has become, like, the less income generator. Like, before, back in the day, pay-per-view was where you got all your dollars from. Now it is, like, Raw, you know? Like, and the sponsorships that come with that, and the TV deals. So, like, now it's like, we don't really care if as many people buy the pay-per-views because now we got Monday Night Raw and that big contract. Whereas they should still have the pay-per-view mentality, and it's kind of cool that they do with Finn. Yep. Like, that type of thought process is what's cool. Mm-hmm. Like, he's only going to wear the demon makeup on pay-per-view. But still, it makes the pay-per-view so much more watered down because there's no reason for pay-per-view if you're putting on every match in Raw, just rebranding it.
Well, they don't know which feud.
You mean like the curse of WCW?
Oh, man. Minus the Russo.
Let's do all of our important stuff on TV and then nothing good on pay-per-view and tank.
Yeah.
9 months of stupid Miz and Dolph, and it was like, Dean, sorry. And I was just like, I just want it over with, please. Can we just stop? I don't want to see another match.
My brother keeps me abreast on a lot of stuff because he's watching almost everything like all the time. So he's keeping me up on it. And I'm just like, really? They're still doing that? They're still pushing him? I mean, I knew not to push a long time ago.
Which is bad. But then you had this really great match, but that was only 2 weeks. And then you're done. It's like...
Exactly. I don't even know.
That's for that's for part 2 with Will.
Yeah.
Which I think before we wrap this up, we should have tell everyone where they can follow you at, because it's Creature Will, right?
Yeah, that's it on Instagram. That's also it on Twitter. Surprisingly enough, I rarely do anything on Twitter, but it's there in case.
Is it underscore or is it just straight?
Yeah, it's underscore.
Okay.
Yep. It's a nickname a buddy of mine gave me in college because I always skated on like Creature skateboards. So he just started calling me that randomly, and so I was like, "Yeah, it works for me."
That is pretty cool. All right. Well, we appreciate
you on, man.
Oh, what?
Say what?
Go ahead. I
was going to say it was my Skype handle, but I forgot the password for that one. So.
Well, we're really glad you got to make time and waste it here with us. So we appreciate it.
Oh, not time wasted. I'd definitely do it again. I hardly ever get to talk to anybody anymore.
Oh yeah, man. No, this was a blast, and we learned a lot, and we definitely have to do part 2 again, because this was
For sure.
already almost an hour, so we appreciate it.
I know, right? I got to
Really
be up
quickly
in like 10
before we
minutes.
go, can you just show Cody one more time and show the hands?
Okay, yeah.
Just
See,
so all of our people can remember what we originally started talking about before we carried on for an hour.
Okay, let's see. So there's the hand. I bent the pinky a minute ago, but like you can just, I'm just gonna manhandle it because I'm one-handing it. Sadly, he's so tricky. But just think of like the old bendy figures from way back when,
Oh yeah.
and you've got. Now he's pointing.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm
That's
gonna do
very
that
cool.
for my Kenny too. Make that pointer gun finger.
Yeah, now I need to go in and do that with my Kenny as well because I mean it's super easy. Like once you get it done, and they bend really nice. And if you want to get a tight bend, you can also like if you really want to and bend at each knuckle, you can play around with like pliers because surprisingly enough, this
yeah.
plastic doesn't hold a mark too easily. And then you can always do the old too sweet.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome.
Cease and desist. Cease and desist.
And then I was bored the other day, and so I even threw up just to do it, the classic Four Horsemen.
Oh, that's cool.
All right.
So yeah, he can do anything. Like you can even go, of course, the obligatory Stone Cold,
Oh,
and
that's
it'll
great.
all hold. You just got to kind of force it a little bit, but they stay put.
That's a lazy one. That's a lazy middle finger.
Yeah, I know, right? It's just it's hard to work at one hand and hold the phone and
I
all
like
that other stuff.
No, that's very cool.
Yeah. The only tricky part is like if you can see the tips of each finger, you can still see like the little ends of the metal, maybe.
Have you tried like covering it up with super glue?
Not yet.
Like I do
probably could.
the super glue and baking soda trick when I'm filling little holes. Like when you
Yeah.
mix I don't know if you know this. I'm sure you do. You're an
I
art
do
teacher,
not.
but
Actually, I don't know.
so this is a good one. This is a super glue and baking soda. When you mix the two, it actually becomes like a it delays the. It doesn't really delay it. It still dries just as fast, but it makes it into like a substance that really fills it, like a body filler, kind of like a Bondo.
Kind of like almost like a paste.
Yeah,
Kinda.
yeah. So I use that to do any of the holes or any of that when I'm covering it because it cures like boom, And if I really want to use some zip kicker and shoot it off, but it turns it into a tangible paste, and I think I'm gonna try your hand thing, and I'm gonna try it because it's such a genius idea, and I'm gonna try closing them up with that super glue and then painting over it,
Yeah.
and
Ladies and gentlemen, that's why we do this show, to bring the community together with awesome ideas.
together.
I'm just glad I had an idea that people like. just glad I had an idea people like. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, you're gonna be stop. My dog is crazy. It's crazy. But,
Yeah, if mine was down here, he would have been
Alexa,
yelling the whole time.
it's a great idea though, and we really appreciate you sharing all your knowledge, and I'm gonna do it
Thank
for
you
sure.
on the
So
show.
Yeah, I'm definitely not one of the customizers that keeps all of my secrets to myself. I'd rather share it.
I
because
know
that makes
there's no,
everything-
everyone's got their own style anyways, so we gotta, we'll have to do that more. Do this more.
Oh yeah, I'll share just
Stay
about
tuned for
anything
part 2 in the future.
for sure. Just let me know when. Hopefully, it won't take like the month of Sundays and everything not working out like it did this time. It's been what, like 2.5 weeks.
Oh, that's no problem. Well, we're glad we finally got you on here. So take care.
Take
You
care.
too.
See ya.
Hello and welcome back. That was Will, Creature Will. Look him up on Instagram. Check him out in our Facebook group. And what a great conversation. What a great guy.
I'm a
And
sharing
you'll
guy.
see here,
Yeah.
we all have these. They're absolutely useless, so I thought, and I threw away many, which was a bad call. But as you see right here, BEW Animations made him into a guardrail, and that is a really genius idea, and I just want to share that all with you because I'm thinking about doing that myself.
Yeah, it's a genius idea. It looks really cool. I mean, and they connect, so hey.
the Kinect, and then you can have figures stand on there because you have the little peg there. So, or groups of crowds or whatever you want. So yeah, it was a good idea. Let's see. Do I stop sharing my screen here? Okay, there we go. So, what a great conversation! What a great guy!
Yeah, man, what a great conversation for sure. That was a long one. That was like we're like at an hour. We almost could have done that in 2 separate sections, but yeah, we're really glad he got on. It's been a long time coming, so we had a lot to talk about.
Oh yes, one thing. Only Bone Dust. You're in our thoughts. You're in our prayers. You recently lost someone very close to him, so
yes,
you're in our thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, take care, buddy.
All right, I think that's about it. Unless you have something else you want to talk about
That's
week.
about it. But I mean, yeah, we're gonna have to have a conversation. Yeah, next 2 weeks from now, right? Because next week will be the judging for round 2, so we can't wait. We're really excited. If you guys are watching this, you guys are like, hey,
what
you
we've
guys
seen
did it.
is amazing so far.
Yeah, it is. It really is amazing, and you guys didn't. Maybe we'll get permission from them. See if we could to post some work in progress pictures. It'd be pretty cool, but I don't know, maybe not. Either way, sorry we didn't go live. That was a plan, but we had a long episode, so you guys can understand why. Yeah, everyone...
I completely forgot about that. It was so long.
I did, but I mean, we're like, well, what are we gonna do, you know? So
you started to say in 2 weeks we will something.
Yeah, 2 weeks we'll have a huge section. So let us know. Comment down below what you want to see next. What customizing topics you want to see next. Who you want to have on the show.
You want.
Yeah. What was that?
Or customizers you want to see on the show.
Customizers you want to see on the show. Yeah, like
custom questions, pet peeves, anything you want us to talk about. Let us know. We're happy to talk about it here.
Then we'll have to interview Pat about his latest film project because I'm really excited for that. You should actually let people know what that is because it's coming up very soon here. Like the $1 Million Man documentary. We should talk about that. That'd be fun. So.
Let me just look really quickly. Give me half a second. Yeah, Nick Manoa and Showstopper, please send me your information. You guys have complimentary Mad Reaper cups coming to you. And I'm just looking up something rare really quick.
What do you guys think of my mask? While you guys are waiting.
Follow my Instagram. You'll see Shawn Michaels actually just promoted this movie. It's called The Price of Fame. It is out November 7th in theaters around the world. So check it out. Check it out on Facebook.
That's going to be awesome. Yeah, I mean, Ted DiBiase was one of the guys that my brother was a huge fan of. So, I mean.
It's a story. I've seen it. It's a really great film. It's the most powerful film I've probably ever seen in my whole entire life. It's a story about how obviously he was a WWE wrestler and got caught up in fame, did a lot of bad things, and ended up finding redemption. So it's a great story.
Really?
And it's really powerful. There's a scene where he's at his father's grave talking to him, and it's raining, and he's just basically breaking down, and it was the most powerful thing I've ever seen. It's a great film. I hope you all check it out. November 7th, Price of Fame, worldwide. Check your local listings to see where you can get tickets.
Yeah, that's amazing. I didn't even know that about him, so definitely everyone check that out. I mean, I think wrestling's got a great entry plan, as a lot of wrestlers have said, but not such a good exit one. So, very cool. Like, take care of everyone out there. Take care of yourselves. We're looking forward to the submissions on Sunday, the 15th, for the Dark Horse match. That's November 6th. You guys have until. Send us those pictures. Let us know if you're down for it. Let us know if you're doing it. Yeah, we're excited. So.
And God willing, we won't open this show again with another strategy. So
right, absolutely. So, take care. See you guys later.